Welcome to the Charlotte CBMC Podcast, a series of candid conversations with area business and professional men. In this series, you'll hear how CBMC has connected businessmen to God, His Word, and each other, equipped them to grow and become godly leaders at work, in their community, and at home. Now, let's join our host for this episode of the Charlotte CBMC Podcast. Welcome to the Charlotte CBMC Podcast. I'm the producer, Phil Erhardt of PW Erhardt Media. And for the last couple of episodes, we flipped the tables on to Brian Bratti, who is one of our illustrious hosts of our podcast. Hello, Brian.
Hello. Illustrious. Well, that's
illustrious.
I've been called a lot of things in life. Illustrious, normally not one of them, but that's okay.
One of our, how about infamous? One of our infamous.
Infamous. Now that's closer.
Hosts.
It's closer.
Yeah. But anyway, Brian and I have known each other, I guess for about 10 years now. And we are part of CBMC, Christian Businessmen's Connection. And in this one, we the past two episodes, we talked about his faith development, his faith in family and work. And now we want to provide some tools for you guys out there to help you with your faith walk. And we're all involved with these. And the first one I want to go is probably the one that I went through back in 2014, 10 years ago now. And it was called Operation Timothy. And I was led by a fantastic guy named Doug Way. Doug has been involved with CBMC for over 60 years. And it was a great opportunity to learn about my Christianity. Brian, what was your experience when you went through Operation Timothy, right?
I did. And I took my youngest son through it. And I've taken a couple of guys through it. And one of the things I would say about Operation Timothy is it's a good place to start your faith walk because it addresses stuff that guys deal with. Now it addresses stuff that other people that men and women deal with, but it's particularly geared for men because men deal with different things than women. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. And quite frankly, there's really not a lot of places left, in my opinion, that is going to help guys work through some of this stuff the way that Operation Timothy does.
Well, society in itself is tough on men as well.
Oh, yeah.
And this is an opportunity for two guys to sit down and talk about faith and and some of the baggage that comes along with just being a guy.
Yep. And I think it gives guys an outlet to kind of, build up a network of trusting guys, that they can go to, because that's important. And let me kind of throw this out if I can too, to our listeners. If you're alone, you don't need to be. And if you're alone, you need to get with somebody who is of faith and can help you along the way. God never meant, even men, never meant us to be alone. He meant us to come up alongside one another so we could glorify Him and help other people and help ourselves. So what I would say to you is, if you're struggling right now, reach out to CBMC. Go on the website, download Operation Timothy. It's free. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. So, I mean, you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I would say Operation Timothy is a great tool for you to walk through with another experienced believer to go over the difficulties you're dealing with. You're dealing with marriage. You're dealing with professionalism. You're dealing with professional work. You're dealing with, a myriad of other problems that could be going on. This is a tool that's going to help you and help you get connected so you're not out alone. Remember, the enemy does not go after groups. He's like a lion. He goes after single people who are out on their own thinking they can do it all by themselves. You're not alone. You're never alone when you're a Christian.
Yeah, that's the important thing. I mean, you made a good point that just came out that I thought of when you say, we can't do it alone. We don't do it. We shouldn't do it alone. I mean, even Jesus himself, he surrounded himself with 12 other guys.
Right. That's right. We were
and then he had his inner circle.
Yep.
And, you know, the fact that some people think, or some men may think that, you know, I'm not a man if I have to, I'm not much of a man. This macho thing is if I got to lean on somebody, sometimes guys, you have to lean on a brother,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's okay to sit down and tell a somebody that, hey man, I just screwed up and I
Yep.
need to talk to somebody.
This is the single biggest lie the enemy tells you as a man, that you need to go alone. If you don't, you're not a man. Don't don't believe this lie. Do not believe this lie, because what Satan is trying to do to you, he's trying to isolate you. And that's what the lion who wants to destroy, kill, pillage, and burn does. He tries to isolate us. When you get involved in an Operation Timothy relationship, you have just put up major defenses that he will have a difficult time fighting. So really, it's I'm a former military officer. From a battle standpoint, you need to get more in your arsenal, dude. You're going to an If you're going to do this, you're going to a gunfight with a knife, unless you do something like this. Unless you bring other guys in that you can lean on to help you out.
Yeah, I just thought of something. I listened to Matthew McConaughey's book. Was it Green Light or something like that? And there's a phenomenal story in there where he was at a low point in his life, and he went to this monastery, and he gets paired with this brother Christian. His name is Brother Christian, and he spends hours just pouring out his soul of all the wine, the women, the song, the debauchery of his life. He just like took all his dirty laundry and dumped it on this monk. And after about 2 hours, they get back. He says in the book, he says, I'm emotionally spent and I'm in tears. And Brother Christian did not utter a word until we got back to the monastery. And he leans over to me and whispers in his ear, me too. And I think that's where we forget. It's like, again, Satan wants to divide us and give us this, oh, I can't really tell another guy this because he'd probably think less of me. Exactly. Chances are the other guy has done it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody has something.
It may be worse.
Yeah.
And it's the Me Too thing. And I think Operation Timothy provides that spiritual learning environment that you go through. It's a great course. If you don't know anybody and you want to go through it, just you drop us a line at charlotte.cbmc.com, and we will be more than happy to talk with you and see if we can help you with somebody. Because sometimes maybe it's better to go through it with a guy that you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't have to know the person.
No.
That's what the Operation Timothy is for. And we're gonna Brian, tell them how long it takes. How long did it take you?
Oh, it took me months. Years, actually, over a year, because it's 3 books, right? It was 3 books.
It took me a year and a half. It took me a year and a half.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You're meeting in a coffee shop normally, right? Or you can even do it this way too. You can do it over Zoom or something.
Yeah, when I did it, we met at a coffee shop because Zoom was not really that prevalent.
Right.
I mean, it's 2014, 2015. It was still Zoom was still kind of in its infancy. Yeah. But yeah, it was the other thing I want to talk about. So we talk about, guys, building your faith. And Christian Businessmen's Connection is our mission is to disciple men where they are, and that is in the marketplace.
Right.
And we are marketplace ambassadors. In fact, if you go to our site and you sign up, we're not going to spam you. We're not going to be asking for money or things like that, or sending you all sorts of stuff.
Right.
It's a free site. Right. You sign up, you have access to our marketplace ambassador programs, and like Operation Timothy, Young Professionals, Trusted Advisors Forum, Living Proof, and even the 10 attributes of your faith at work. So there's some great great free resources there, and we encourage you to go there. But I want to talk about the young professionals because I think this is important. I think it's important that you men that are just starting out in your professional life, you got a lot of stuff coming at you, right?
Oh yeah.
Brian, let's talk about our 20s,
Yeah.
our 20s and 30s, specifically in work.
Yeah. I would say this. One of the biggest mistakes. I mean, now you understand. And I've given you my background. I did not want any help from anybody growing up. I mean, I did not want to rely on anybody. I wanted to do it all on my own. It was a colossal mistake. One of the other than not coming to Christ earlier, I consider that one of the biggest mistakes of my career. And because the thing is, one of the lies that another lie that the enemy tries to tell you is that you can do it all on your own. Only weak men do it by themselves. I mean, do it with other people, get help. Here's the deal. Nobody you know who is successful in any way you want to validate that. Finances, marriage, kids, no one who has any modicum of success in any of those places did it on their own, including me. No one did.
You look at even athletes in individual sports like golf. They have coaches, their
mentors.
They have they're everybody in any field. You cannot pick a field that you're a success on your own.
No, it's these lies. It's these lies that the enemy through the media tries to tell us. And I tell people, don't make my mistake. Get a mentor. Get a mentor now. Get a Christian mentor that you can rely on. Doesn't need to be a coach. Doesn't have to be professionally trained, but you get a Christian mentor that you can rely on, that you can come to, and you can do things like Operation Timothy, and you'll meet those kind of people at the young professionals. In fact, I've given 2 talks to the young professionals and told them kind of what I was doing. And basically what I was doing is I was coming up alongside these guys, kind of telling them what mistakes I made, kind of what you heard today and what you heard in our last episode. I mean, and that's because I just thought, because of the way I grew up, I had to do it on my own. I just thought, and let's be truthful too. All right. Let's be truthful too. All right. It's like, the media tells us to do this. A lot of us want to do it on our own so we can claim the glory and we can get the credit, right? This is a mistake. This is a major mistake, because here's the deal. Nothing you're going to do that's worth is going to be on your own. And if you don't attribute this to God does not, you read the book, God is not crazy about giving out his glory. He is not happy with that. So I would say to you, if you're struggling, if you're hitting obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, maybe you're trying to claim some glory for yourself, and you shouldn't be doing that. Maybe you need to humble yourself, like I should have when I was younger, and find myself a mentor. And if you do that, you can find peer mentors, and you can find old guys like me and Phil that can come up alongside you as well, right? But these young professional groups, this is where you're going to meet people like this. This is where you're going to get exposure to stuff like this. And this is where you're going to be safe. Now, because you can get mentors in the marketplace all day long, but if they're not people of faith, you're really taking a big chance. You're taking a big chance putting your success and your life in the hands of someone who does not have a relationship with God. So I would say is get in touch with CBMC and get together on these young professional situations, because these meetings are great. I've run a couple of them, and they're just something that I think can help you honor God and also deal with the difficulties, because this life, Buddha was right about this. All right. I'm not a Buddhist, right? But he was right about this. Life is difficult. He was right. It is. And if you're waiting for it to get easy as a Christian, you're going to be waiting a long time. But it can be easier And that's if you come all up alongside some of your peers in this young professionals group, and also seek out a Christian mentor that you can trust.
Yeah, I think mentorship is very important, and especially for us older guys that decided to test the waters of entrepreneurship.
Mm.
And a lot of entrepreneurs, when they start out, they're bootstrapping it 9 times out of 10,
Mm-hmm.
doing it with somebody else's money.
Yeah.
And so they try to do everything on the cheap. So as an entrepreneur, one of the things that CBMC has a program called Trusted Advisors Forum,
Right.
and or TAF for short. Brian, you led a couple of. Tell us a little bit about Trusted Advisors Forum.
Right. This is something near and dear to my heart. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish it because I had to go back into, because I was doing it part-time while working full-time. And that was kind of hard. But this is a place where I have a passion. And the reason why I have a passion is this: leaders of small businesses have a unique opportunity in the kingdom, a unique stewardship responsibility, and a unique opportunity. And what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, if you run your business the way God wants you to run your business, it's going to be a little different than your competitor across the street. So what's going to happen is people are going to say, he does things differently. And working for him is a little bit different than anybody else I've ever worked for. And what that does is you might be bringing other people to Christ, not through preaching and evangelism and throwing and stuffing tracts in people's hands, but by demonstrating Christ in your business. So I was really sad that I stopped, because it was a place I had a major passion for. We did it for a little over a year. And what we did is we created this, you have a round table, and basically you're not just bringing problems that you have in life, you're bringing business problems that really you can't talk to a lot of other people about. Now think about it this way, business owner, think about it this way. You talk to your spouse, your wife about it, and I'm not telling you not to talk to your wife, obviously talk, but she will naturally have an interest in the outcome, because that's her life too. You talk to your employees, even your most trusted number one go-to employees. They're going to have an interest in what you do, and they're going to be a little biased. They all are. You go to a trusted advisor forum, all of these people have no interest other than helping you. You're going to get the straight deal, and you're going to get so much support. I think we did a bunch of stuff. We did one, in one instance, I had a small business owner who was structuring their bonus structure for the upcoming year. And they made a good profit that year. And all these other, we all came up alongside this person and helped them, but they were saying, well, what's the godly thing to do with this extra money? How much do I give myself? How much do I give my employees? So I was the facilitator, and I had a big old flip chart, and we went down the pros and cons and how he's gonna structure that bonus that will please God, that will honor his employees, and he can walk away with, like, I'm talking zero guilt and zero remorse and 0 second questions, because he brought it to his advisors. He did what he was supposed to do, and it worked out very well. So that's just a small sample, in my opinion, of what happens at these kind of forums. In fact, in the future, I've told Bill, our director, our area director, we had nothing in Concord, and I would love to do it again. And it's not because I expect to get rich off it or something like that. I do it because it makes a difference in an entrepreneur's life. Because here's the deal: you're alone unless you have a board of directors. And like I said earlier, God never meant any of us to be alone, ever. So this way, you have people you can trust, that you can bring the problems you're dealing with, and they aren't in your same business. So they got no interest in giving you wrong advice other than coming up alongside you and caring for you.
You know, I was I was a featured business back in November at our Trusted Advisors Forum, and I was giving my presentation and talking about how my philosophy of business. First of all, I don't call myself a business. I don't own the business. I am a steward of the business. So I always so when somebody asks me, so oh, so you're the business owner? I said, no, I'm the managing director.
Yeah.
I am managing what the Father gave to me,
Right.
because you know, and I explained to these guys, I said, look, when I had a 9-year sabbatical in retail management from one video job, you know, where digital was, our video was 60% analog and 40% digital.
Right.
9 years later, it's 100% digital.
Mm.
And I didn't keep up with the industry. I knew a little bit, but not a lot. But so it is by the grace of God that I'm doing this, that it, you know, in a total digital industry. And I was telling my guys, it's like, I came up with this philosophy one day when I was, you know, praying over and talking to God about our business. It's like saying, you know, when I focus on the money or the reward, the work seems harder.
Yes.
When you focus on the work, the reward or money comes easier.
Agreed.
And I gave this presentation and told them, you know, and one of the two of the guys that were in it, one was a business broker. He sells men's, you know, when you get to a certain age, you want to go, hey, here's the business, sell it.
Right.
And they were saying, said, you know, we based on his numbers and stuff, it's like we don't see how he does it. And I told one of the guys that was telling me it, he says, we didn't see how you do it. And I said, it's all by the grace of God.
Right.
And every day I'll sit there and go, okay, Lord, now what? You know, I mean, he knows what bills I have.
Right.
He knows.
Oh yeah.
You know why? Because it's his stuff anyway.
That's right. That's right. Hey, one of the biggest things I found is, all right, you're not taking any of this stuff with you. Any of it. I don't care how much you accumulate. Okay.
No, there's no trailer hitches on
or luggage
hearses.
Racks. Or luggage racks.
Yeah,
right?
No luggage racks, no trailer hitches on a hearse.
That's right. So the thing is like, you know, you can't take any of it with you. You don't own it. I mean, even if you have your house paid off, you don't own it. Someone else is going to live there eventually. This is one of the conversations I actually had with a CFO of a fairly large corporation. I was coaching this individual, and I said, and he was looking at, we were trying to devise his exit strategy, and he had one, and we did this, and he said, Brian, I don't think in 5 years people are going to even remember me. I go, I got news for you. Probably in 2 years, they won't remember you. Now, this was the third most powerful person in that company, right? The third most, and within a couple of years, they just did their thing, and he wasn't even remembered. And I tell people, you know, one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves is we're almost tell ourselves that we're too important. Now, we are important. We're important to God, but here's the thing. When we die, if we have children, by the fourth generation, it'll be almost as if we didn't exist. My kids don't know who my grandfather was. My kids would not know who my grandfather was if they bumped into him on the street. Why? Because it's all God's. We're stewards. Now, in the afterlife, things are going to be a lot different, I believe. All the stuff that we're doing here is going to be important. But if it's about glorifying ourselves, about making all this money, it's about buying stuff, no, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it is. And I'm glad we ended on this great note of it's all belongs to God anyway. This podcast belongs to God, and everything that we talked about belongs to God. A lot of times it just, you know, we just let the Holy Spirit lead us, and he takes us wherever he takes us on this journey. And that's why we call it a faith journey.
Correct.
Because we rely on our faith and not by our sight, because if we're looking at something, we're probably not looking the way we should be looking.
Right.
And that's where we trip and fall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Brian, this has been a phenomenal journey with you. Brother, I love you. I appreciate you. And, we'll do this again. You've got some guests lined up, I assume.
I do. I absolutely do. We're going to be starting up in the next couple of weeks.
So for CBMC and Brian Bratti, thank you very much. Happy New Year to everybody, and may you have a blessed day. We hope you are blessed and encouraged by this episode. The Charlotte CBMC Podcast is also available on the Queen City Leaders app. Now you can easily listen or watch and share these inspirational podcasts with others. Download the app at the Apple App Store or Google Play. For more information about Charlotte CBMC, simply type in the browser address line charlotte.cbmc.com. That's charlotte.cbmc.com. There you'll discover free resources to deepen your faith. Connect to one of the area's C3 groups that meet each week. For business owners, discover the Trusted Advisors Forum, where you can meet with other business owners and discuss how to grow your business spiritually. Finally, you'll learn about Charlotte CBMC sponsored events like the Queen City Leaders Summit Series. Please subscribe to this podcast so you'll know when new episodes are available. Like and share this podcast with other men and help us spread the good news of Jesus Christ throughout the Queen City. Join us again next time for a new episode of the Charlotte CBMC Podcast. May you have a blessed and productive day working for the Lord. Thank you.